Welcome to In Focus. The issue of pornography, specifically through internet access, should be a topic of ongoing discussion. It's an issue that isn't going away, and we need to stay on target with how the increase to access is treating our young people and families. No one is safe. We address this issue again today with Josh Gilman from Strength to Fight, an organization dedicated to battling internet pornography. Welcome, Josh.
Yeah, thank you.
You know, I'm so happy that you're here to help us frame some things because there's a lot going on in the area of our political realm with pornography. Just recently, Ottawa has given about $4.1 million to artificial intelligence to make sure that child porn is being monitored and some other things that are going on. What's your thought on that?
I'm really happy that that's happening. That's a really good thing, obviously. Anything that we can do to try to fight child pornography is fantastic. I'm really, really happy. I'd like to see more resources put into helping to stop the things that lead to people getting into child pornography, right? Like child pornography, trying to rescue people from it is pulling them out of the river, and that's a really, really good thing to do. Yeah. But we would like to see more resources going into figuring out who's pushing them in.
Well, I think that is a very strong statement because when we talk about who's pushing them in, 91 billion porn videos viewed, and this is in even 1 year, and 4.5 billion hours of pornography is being watched right now, as well as 64 million websites visited daily. You know, what are we learning from where this issue is going? Are we getting our hands around it?
I don't think we understand how massive a problem it is yet. Like those numbers are so incomprehensible. The numbers you just read about how much porn is being watched just on the one porn site, that's the equivalent of 6,000 lives, right? Like if 6,000 people had never been born, never lived, never got married, never did anything with their lives, we're not realizing just how much this is stealing from us, just as a society, as a culture, as people. And so we just haven't really gotten our heads around how big of a problem it is.
How do we really get an effective meeting with our MP? How do we begin to now let our voice be heard and pull this gag order off of us?
I think just do some basic education for yourself. Just figuring out, the basic talking points are as easy as going onto our website, strengthfight.ca, or Fight the New Drug, or Defend Dignity. All these different organizations have some very basic talking points. And if you go into your MP's office and you have a specific ask, you say, here's a good idea. Here's some legislation that happened, in the UK, and it was really, really successful. Here's how it worked. Here's how it's working in Australia. And you give them a very specific ask. They'll respond a lot better than just going and saying, I care about pornography.
You know, Josh, when I started doing the research for this, 88% of the porn scenes showed physical aggression, and 48.7% of porn showed was verbal aggression. So we're talking about something that has completely changed. This is not what we would have seen 20 years ago or 30 years ago. Yeah. How do we begin to wrap our minds around this now?
We need to start looking at it from the scientific perspective and understanding just the brain science. And so when you're talking to your kids or your MP or whoever you're talking to, going back and saying, here's the science, we know how the brain works, we know how it affects the way we think, the way we treat other people. Going back to the child pornography issue, 15% of kids have already been exposed to child pornography. If kids are already being exposed to this online, how are they supposed to know that it's wrong when it happens to them?
Yeah, you know, what I researched, 71% of people are having, through counseling, an effective use of being able to come out of this, right? And also 59% through monitoring your internet. But how do we put stopgaps in? How do we put prevention in from a parent and also from a husband and a wife?
It starts with understanding that accountability is a good thing. Accountability is not saying that you're weak. It's saying that you understand that there's a problem that is out there that can affect you, and just being willing to talk about it, being willing to have those conversations. When you don't want your daughter or son to have a cell phone, explain to them why. Explain to them the dangers. Talk about the fact that when you hit send on that picture, that it's out there forever. And a great way to explain that is just saying, hey, when you hit send, you lose the power. It now belongs to somebody else. Just have the conversation and be honest about why you think the way you do.
You know, when Josh was talking to me earlier, and when he was explaining to me that the average age of a person who has been involved in pornography of death is 35. And some of the top in the industry, although they have the finances, they have the money, 28 years old, they're killing themselves through homicide, suicide, and through other means. This is not something that's going away. And I believe what we need to do is we need to not only pray about it, we need to talk to our MP, but we also need to get involved and take the tape off. The gag order must be lifted. It's not going away, so we must rise up and fight. Thank you, Josh.
Thanks.
Up next, a young man gets addicted to the very drug he was selling. See how God set Derek free.